This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Guys, still haven't been able to get the camera, the Blue and Chloe camera set up yet, but it will be soon. Well, how's it going, everybody? You know what's amazing, everybody? There's still people trying to defend what Hamas did on behalf of the Palestinian people, and they are Palestinian themselves, and they're, you know, and most of the Palestinian people support Hamas because they don't know anything better. But there's still people supporting them out there. It's really, listen, everybody. Today, the news outlets have said, and I don't know if that, you know, that's what they're reporting, that 40 babies were murdered, and they actually had their heads cut off. Okay, now, when you're, you know, in one of these interviews, one of the congresswomen, Tlaib, or whatever the hell her name is, they're asking her, do you condemn the cutting off the heads of the kids? And she just kept walking, never answering the question. I mean, who the hell, you should be, I think she should be arrested almost. I mean, you have somebody in Congress who's that sick? Man. You know, the gang, those little three of them out there, just disgusting people, and it's so weird, you know. It's been like that for a long time. All kinds of crazy stories out there. Hey, thanks, J. Sarah Books. So anyways, what I thought I might try to do is do another show after this show and see if I can get people to call in from Israel, you know. Wouldn't that be interesting? So I thought I'd give that a shot after this show, do a different show. Let's see. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I've got Zoom numbers for Israel. I don't know if they're how. The only thing is right now it's 4:16 in the morning, so I figured at 6 something I'm sure people would be awake. Especially given what's going on. Nobody's sleeping in, nobody's like peaceful and happy. And, you know. And right now there's 14 missing, or 14 confirmed murdered Americans, and there's dozens more missing. Yeah, probably held captive somewhere. And now it's over 1,400 people who were murdered. I mean, it's just really sick. Okay. And by the way, years ago, I actually was thinking one of the scariest things that there could possibly be out there. Hey, Cindy J. One of the scariest things that terrorists could do would be to, you know, infiltrate a country and then on their own have 1,000 of them go to 1,000 different places in the middle of the night. Go in and just start attacking and killing people all over the country. That would absolutely be terrifying, and I think that's sort of what they did. That was the nightmare scenario that I was thinking about, and that sort of feels like that's exactly what happened here in Israel. You know, just people got lax over there. They're starting to raise the young people that are really liberal and just like, yay, you know, let's all be happy. And I wonder what they were thinking as the terrorists and all those thousands of people jumped over the border and started killing all of them. You know, so you need to have a little bit more, you know, it's kind of disturbing how people are taught, you know. It's like the reality is there's barbarians out there, all right? And no amount of kumbaya is going to stop those people from doing anything. Yeah, it's hard to say how, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a massive failure on the part of, you know, Intel there, no doubt about that. I mean, absolutely horrendous, you know, like somebody didn't notice something. Apparently, these guys were even practicing and some of the stuff they were doing in plain sight, even building a mock-up of a building or something. And I'm telling you, see, one of the concerns that Republicans have all the time are that on the southern border, that bad actors out there might use the border and sneak in to start building the, what do you call it, the cells. And then people on the left always say, oh, you're paranoid, man. You just don't want people coming in. And the reality is no, that every single American wants other people to be able to immigrate to the country. They just want it to be orderly and in a way that is legal, right? You don't just break in. That's how these people come in. There's been, what was it, 1.2 million gotaways, meaning people that came in and they weren't even caught at all. But why not just turn yourself in to authorities when you're just allowed to go in, given a court date, nobody shows up to that? See, those are the people that didn't want to be caught by police, and you sort of wonder what they're doing. Who are those people? Do any of you wonder about that same thing? Or is what I'm saying now just something you just kind of go, yeah. How much you want to bet? If something happens here, we'll find out they came through in the droves of people that just came through the border. Apparently, Hezbollah, or I can't remember, yeah, Hezbollah has connections with the cartel in Mexico. Okay, so, yeah, you can take that for what it's worth. Hello, everybody. Are we done with the hellos yet, or are we ready to get going on to the show? Yeah. All right. So, as I always say at the beginning of the shows, I do these shows every single night of the week, and you guys are the sole source of income for the channel that allows me to make an income and also to donate a tremendous amount of money to various charities out there, and our DNA fund, and now our new scholarship fund. All right, those are all real things that are really happening. All right, so you guys are it. So if you're out there and you feel like you're able to help support the channel, please do so. Thank you. Let's see. Well, you just, I don't know. I feel I'm a little bit nervous now because I've been thinking for a year now how it's been so quiet over here for a long time. There's been like about 5 or 6 years since the last kind of a terrorist situation. And now with the open borders, like people just pouring in, you wonder if something like that might happen again in not too distant of a future. They've actually caught people coming in that are on the terror watch list. Hopefully that means something to somebody. You know, well, how many of the ones on the terrorist watch list did they not catch? You might ask that question to yourself. Oh, Gray, you're just paranoid, man. Gee, they just want to come here and just... Okay. Hey, thanks, Tamara. Not today, but tomorrow. Yeah. And you know what's amazing? Have you noticed the news and everybody right now, even CNN, sounds like I sounded 3 days ago? Now they're all catching on. There's no more sort of equivocating and sort of like, well, you know, it's just kind of... It is one of the most barbaric thing. You know what happened to one, I think it's a grandmother. She was murdered in her home. The killer took her cell phone and uploaded a video to her Facebook page so that her grandkids and her daughter could watch it. That's how they found out she died. How sick is that, you guys? That just shows a level of, and that's a true story because I actually heard the interview from the I think the son and a cousin. It's not. It was right from their mouths after seeing it on there. Yeah. And 40 babies executed. And the reporting is that they cut the heads off of those 40 babies. Now, I'm hoping that is not a true story. But there was a guy that I heard interviewed, and they found these body parts, and they didn't know what they were. Like, is this a baby, or is this a, it's... Yeah, no, they did soldiers. That's kind of common. See, here's the deal, everybody. If they had just attacked military targets and had battles with soldiers, I think the world would think of this totally differently. But that's not what they did. They lost the moral high ground completely. There is no moral high ground whatsoever. I mean, Israel has it. I mean, it's not even close. I think what Hamas did, I mean, it's a little bit scary right now because you have Hezbollah now coming. There's some activity up north through, I think, Lebanon area up there. And then also Syria. That's what, there was a big stronghold of ISIS in Syria, and some mortars were shot from Syria. So now we're back to one of the, I'm not sure if that was the 67 war or the 72, whatever the hell it was, where they were attacked from all sides, and Israel won those too, and they'll win this one. And it's going to be a lot of loss of life here, but this is one of those existential moments for them, especially with all the new technologies that are out there. And Biden gave a speech today. I think he said the right stuff. He didn't mention, however, that Iran is the funder of Hamas. He seems to just be so into that deal. It's just so weird. Why do you want to do that? Once you gave, did you guys see that when the $6 billion was given to Iran, their Ayatollah almost immediately said, or one of the leaders said, yeah, we'll do it with it whatever we want to. We don't have to use it for humanitarian stuff. Okay, well, there you go. Welcome, not that Nikki. All right, so anyways, we'll just come back on later. There's just so much going on with that. I've got some video of somebody else telling another just horrifying story that her mother, I think, went through, and her brother. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it was just reading a prompt. No feelings whatsoever. I don't feel, I feel so much more unsafe. Now, a lot of the people that hated Trump said the same thing. He doesn't make me feel safe. But yet under him, the world was absolutely, there was nothing going on. And that's because they probably thought he was crazy and he might do something to them. Maybe you need a little bit of that, right? When you have somebody that's falling asleep up on the stage, and you have somebody up on the stage falling asleep and can barely give a sentence out, and you have to inject him with probably some medications to have a performance. They put the lid on him sometimes at noon, so he can't communicate with anybody after that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything is, COVID is what everybody tries to blame on, that's what ruined and gave people the ability to just go, yeah, everything sucks now. But crazily, he's the one that did the lightning speed of getting the vaccines out, right? And then they remember when the vice president to be, and they said, I wouldn't take anything that Trump's administration created. And yet right when they got in, all the vaccines that they were created under Trump, they said, these are awesome. Don't you guys notice stuff? I mean, I'm just saying, don't you notice the hypocrisy sometimes like that? Just every once in a while. Doesn't it just, don't you go, yeah, don't you remember that when she said, oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I just want to have somebody as a president that everybody likes and that everybody trusts and respects. Just one time. It's been years since that. You know, wouldn't that be great? I want somebody that you're like really excited to. Right. Sleepy Joe, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely true. That's a real thing. I mean, literally falling asleep in meetings, like he's, you know, like in the room where you just have the guy sitting next to you and you look over and he's like, whoa, who does that? Oh, that's right. You know, there's like a 20 miles of wall that they're now going to build and they're pretending that they just don't have the time to argue it in court, so we're going to... Give me a break. All right. But anyways, you guys, we got to get going here. So if you'd like to help support the channel, that'd be awesome. We're struggling right out of the gate. All right, we're now switching over to the Richard Allen Delphi documents. All right. So we're just going to go through each one of these. These all came out today, as a matter of fact. All right. Yeah, you're incorrect, Peace Train. I know that you want it to be that way because it makes you feel better, but you're incorrect. All right. Anyways, let's go. Here we go. It says the John Gallipo, the acting warden of Westville Correction Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Correction, affirms and swear to the following. That the defendant, Richard Allen, is housed in the Westville Correctional Facility in the segregation unit. All right, so he's in the segregation unit. That the defendant is housed in that unit for his protection. That the cell that the defendant is housed in is 12 by 8, which is the standard size cell in that facility. That the correctional officers guarding the defendant are assigned to that unit by myself and command. That correctional officers at Westville Correctional Facility were allowed to wear any patches on their vests until the allegations made by the defense in their motion. That Westville Correctional Facility officers' religious services, if there are at least 5 individuals that practice the religion in the complex, and to date we have not had more than 5 individuals in the complex request to hold services related to Odinism. That the defendant is on video while he is in his cell and when he is moved from his cell. That the defendant is monitored by at least 3 correctional officers at all times during movement. Here, hold on a second. Man, you guys are a tough crowd tonight. So what are we at? So let me see. I gotta set this up. Okay. Alright, and then also the stream boss. There we go. And there we go. See, those are the numbers up on the top of the screen there. Yeah. Who knows? I do want to be, where I've already told you guys what I think would be a great president. I told you Mike Rowe, okay? But anyways, do you mind if we switch over to this topic now? Okay, but as you can see at the top of the screen, we try to reach the goal there. Hey, look at that. Hey, Scout and Dude. Wow, I mean, that's so kind of you given what's going on. I mean, how's everything going for you? No, it's crazy, but thank you. Am I over here? I think I've got everything pretty well organized now. I can see a huge chat thing over here on the left, but also I can do there's a button on the Chrome plugin that allows you to put chat on the screen, but it covers where you can add extra lines of like a poll question. So now I can do it over here on the other screen. Plus I think I can actually buy the super chats, I mean not super chats, channel memberships if I get to that point. You're driving back from your sister's? How are you guys all doing? I mean, that's crazy. God, I like that sound. I like that sound and the dancing avocado. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. Anyways, Scout Dude. Let me know if you need anything. Alright, so the defendant is on video while he is in his cell and when he is moved from his cell. That the defendant is monitored by at least 3 correctional officers at all times during movement. That Sergeant Randy Jones and Sergeant Joshua Robinson were never placed on duty at the cell door to act as suicide companion of the defendant one-on-one. That I have never received any reports that Sergeant Randy Jones and Sergeant Joshua Robinson have mistreated the defendant. That no one in the facility has ever been ordered to command, to threaten, harass, or put the defendant, Richard Allen, in danger. That the defendant is housed by himself and does not have any direct contact with other inmates. That I do not have an agenda or a vested interest in keeping the defendant incarcerated in a facility that is ripe with connections to Odinism. Let's see. That I do not have an agenda or a vested interest in keeping the defendant incarcerated in a facility. Okay. Hey, thanks, Jillian's Book Chatter. You can put comments in there. I can read them, too. Yeah, it's going to probably hit you. It is sort of weird at first. It's just kind of you're sort of in a weird place, Scouting Dude. But maybe like, I'll probably hit you here in the next day or two. Yeah, he just had his son just passed away, Plato, so not really a giggling moment there. Let's see. Hey, good to see you there, Plato. Yeah, I don't know how anybody out there other than sick, wacko, just dumber than shit people support what Hamas did. I don't care if you are a hardcore I hate Israel type. To defend the stuff that they did here means that you yourself are a barbarian. Okay? That means you are a horrendous human being, lacking any moral compass of any kind. All right? I mean, I don't know. There is no, you can't sit there and go, yeah, I saw what they did, but. There's no but. There's no ability to put a but at the end of the sentence. Okay? There isn't one. Yeah, it's no problem there. Yes, it just got into the chat because I had mentioned. Let's see. Yeah, everybody put some positive vibes out there for Scouting Dude. He's an awesome freak. And he's, going through a shitty time. I think his son passed away yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, very cool. What do you mean Delphi what? What does that mean, businessman? Delphi what? God, people are just... God, type of... God, I just want to cuss right now. Forget it. Can't do it. All right, so as it says that no one in the facility is ever ordered by command to threaten, but maybe, I don't know if that's exonerating whoever might have threatened him, harass or put the defendant in danger, that the defendant is housed by himself and does not have any direct contact with other inmates, that I do not have an agenda or as a vested interest in keeping the defendant incarcerated in a facility that is ripe with connections to Odinism, that Westville Correctional Facility has very few inmates that practice Odinism, that none of those inmates are housed with or next to the defendant. I swear under penalty of perjury as specified by IC 35-44-2-1 that the foregoing representations are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge, and that is the warden of the prison. Right. So then the next document Sergeant Randy Jones, correction officer at Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Correction, affirms and swears to the following. So this is one of the, so in that last document it mentioned Sergeant Randy Jones, right? So some of this is pretty weird. You still there, Plato? Have you sent out the thing yet, Plato? So if you're in here and you're a moderator and you were supposed to get an invite to our first Zoom meeting, then send me an email or send Plato one. I don't know how that would work, but you'd have to send me an email. Or actually, I'll just look through my emails. I don't know. I don't really know how to do it. Too many trolls out there. But anyway, she's setting up a, it's not a Zoom actually. It's a Microsoft Team meeting. We haven't done one of those. Yeah, there's mods that haven't responded yet. I don't know if I even have the link now because the one I had was canceled, Plato. So, make sure I got the right one. So in that first document we read, that was the warden, and in that he mentioned an individual named Sergeant Randy Jones. So now it says, he says, and swears to the following, that I am a correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, that I have been assigned to WCU unit of Westville Correctional Facility since December 11, 2022, currently assigned to B pod, that I have been an acting supervisor in A pod, where the defendant is housed, since late February, early March 2023, that I do not practice Odinism, and that Norse paganism, it does say it, but listen to what it says, and that Norse paganism heathenry is my practicing religion. Oh, God. I mean, come on, can you just give us a break for once? So this guy really does practice, one of the guys there practice Norse paganism, heathenry, that I do wear, now listen to this, I do wear patches on my uniform that identify me as someone who practices Norse paganism, heathenry. God. That I started wearing the patches 6 or 7 months ago, and I did not stop wearing my patches until September 22nd, 2023, when ordered by my command to remove the patches. That the patches do not represent racism or hatred for anyone. That I am not part of a cult. That I am not part of a radical hate group. See, here's what I think is the deal. I think, yeah, this guy probably wore those things, and the defense is using the fact that he did wear those and concocting these other stories around it to match the crazy crap about Odinistic elements at the crime scene. And I'm just going to tell you guys, from what I'm hearing at this point, there is zero, nothing looks like Norse or pagan designs or anything like that at the crime scene. All right. It's just, and so if you look at the one Barbara McDonald put out and the one I showed you yesterday, it doesn't look like anything. But if you were just listening to it, you'd think, ooh, it's so organized. It sounds like a, right. But it's crazy, though, that like that element is something that was a real thing. That I interacted with that the defendant is filmed. Okay, that I'm not part of a radical hate group. That the patches show my dedication to my faith and to my country. That the defendant is filmed with a handheld camera when he is moved from the cell for his safety. That I interacted with the defendant when I was in charge of holding the handheld camera to film his movements when he is moved from his cell to another area within the facility. That I was also assigned periodically to check on the defendant at his door with his 15-minute checks implemented by his mental health plan. That during the door checks, I would walk to the defendant's cell, make sure he's okay, and not ask, and not at risk of self-harm, and then walk away. That I have never threatened the defendant. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism. That I do not know anything about the practice of Odinism. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way. That I have gone above and beyond to not use any kind of force on the defendant, even, and so here's the thing, everybody. So remember, I've even said this. Even if they were Odinists, why would they want to harm Richard Allen? I mean, Richard Allen is the guy going down for all the stuff that they did, right? They should be giving him cake and ice cream every day and treating him like a freaking king in there. Because he's taken the blame for it, right? So that argument still is in play now, even more so. That I've never threatened the defendant, that I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism, that I do not know anything about the practice of Odinism, that I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way, that I have gone above and beyond to not use any kind of force on the defendant, even though there have been times when use of force was justified by standard operating procedures. That there have been times when I have gone above and beyond in order to be gentler with the defendant to prevent him from getting tased. That the defendant was tased twice, on May 9th and May 25th, because he would not get, we could not get him to comply with our orders. That I had never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I had been employed at Westville Correctional Facility. That I have been employed with the Department of Corrections since April 4th, 2022, and this job is my passion and what I love doing. Man, am I going to have to toss myself in prison tonight, you guys? Sounds like something that might have to be one of the techniques in here. Because every single night, you guys, we raise funds in here to help support the channel and kick ass at the end of the month by giving a ton of money to various charities and a DNA fund and a scholarship fund. And the only way to make that happen is if on a nightly basis you pretend that we're at a Starbucks or something and you're just tipping the person helping out. There is no ad revenue on these shows, okay? These are live streams. They're always demonetized. And mainly because I don't say the correct words. I don't go, hey, they unalive themselves. No, everybody, it's actually called suicide. There is a word called murdered, everybody. That's what Hamas is doing to the Israelis. Okay? Yes, those are actual words. And now I'm reading, so we're in a big pickle here. Every time there's a reading situation, it just goes. Yeah. A non-Nordic cult donations from Indiana. All right. Are you sure about that, though? We're just never sure. Right, Hardwire, but I'm going to have to get rid of you now, because you know what I meant, so you're one of the trolls. All right, thanks. Let's see. Yeah, but hey, put a 1 if when you go to Starbucks, if you tip the people at Starbucks. I do every single time I'm there, even when it's at a store where I have to get cash back and then I give it to them. I mean, it's so stupid. Hardwire is a freaking idiot. God, I sure hope you're not one of the people out there that stiffs these people every time. Yeah. Right. So pretend I'm Starbucks. You get it? Yeah, that's how I look at it. It's like, man, you got somebody that spends 3 hours a day on here, and the Starbucks guy only takes 10 minutes at the most. And right, Kelly, right. Nobody asked. Let's see. Let's try to tip one. A patsy who was there on the bridge at daytime with guns, knives, called himself into the tip before arrest. Yeah, right. Yeah, I only go to Starbucks to get my wife. She likes the what is it? Some sort of. Hey, thanks, Tamara. Yeah. But man, you already helped out earlier. Where's the democracy element here? The white chocolate mocha non-fat grande is what it is. Hey, thanks, Noreen Gardner. And also, we might even be coming back on later to do another show where we'll talk about the Middle East, but I'm going to have phone lines open and see if we can get some people from Israel to call in on the Zoom number specifically for Israel. You know how we have the numbers for East Coast, West Coast, and I mean East Coast, Central, and West Coast. But I have 3 numbers that are for Israel. So thanks, Noreen Gardner. And just Junie. Yeah. So I swear under penalty of perjury, as specified, that the foregoing presentations are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. All right. So I'm assuming that the third affidavit is going to be the other correctional officer. And there it is, Sergeant Joshua Robinson. I haven't read any of these yet. Correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Correction, affirms and swears to the following. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's the thing, everybody. There are people out there that have seen the. Here's the thing. If I see the images that are out, I'm not going to show them on my screen or share them, but I will tell you exactly what I see. And I heard what was on there, so there's a chance that I'm going to get to see the images and of the crime scene, and when I do, I'll let you know what I see. And maybe I'll even try to do like a 3D models that show you exactly what it looks like there. But you know, I won't get sensationalistic with the models. It'll just be, you know, it'll look like the people, and then you know, put the sticks and so forth where they appear to be in the images. All right. But these are images that I don't think should be out in the public where people are looking at them. You know, but unfortunately they're out there. They haven't made it into the general population yet, though. I'm having a hard time believing, just given the lunacy of the people who originally got them and put them out, that they won't make it out there. They think the images help their cause. All right. You guys even there? It's like I've never seen. Some nights it's just nobody's talking at all. It's just the slowest chat in the world. And when you have 550 people, do any of you guys have anything to say to each other about anything that we're discussing? It's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I have a feeling that at some point they're going to make it out there, and that's really unfortunate. I know that law enforcement and other people are trying to make sure that they don't make it out there. Yeah, and I'm gonna be somebody that if I see them, they're not going to make it out into the public. But I think it might be important for rational-minded people to see the same images that the psycho wackos who still are trying to sell a crazy story out there. I mean, how do you trust somebody that's actually friends with Tony Klein? Like, you befriend somebody who beat the living crap out of a little stepson of his, smashing the head into a toilet, and then attacking or chasing the other daughter, and she breaks her leg in that one. And then in the same incident where the kid's head got smashed in the toilet, he bites his wife in the stomach. And you're out there sitting around taking selfies with a clown like that. What a ridiculous. And you know what, at the very beginning, when I first read the 136 page, just started reading it, I absolutely nailed it when I told you guys that document has the earmarks and came from a huge number of these crazy YouTubers out there. The crazy ones. And so they've concocted this whole story. It must have been a disappointment, however, when the people that really believed in the Ron Logan theory didn't get that theory co-opted into their in that 136-page document, right? Huh? I don't know who you're talking to. Secret door? A secret door where? I'm not talking about the clown. Oh yeah, but the clown is, I think he's just trolling people making his videos. If he actually believes the stuff he's saying, he's one of the dumbest people on the planet. However, if he knows that by putting out all this crazy stuff, he'll get a lot of views, and he's all about getting the advertising revenue and all that stuff like that, well, hell, he's a genius, right? Yeah, that's what I think. All right, anyways, let me get through this. That I am a correctional sergeant at Westville Correctional Facility and have been since October 17, 2021. I have been employed at Westville Correctional Facility since July of 2016. That I am assigned to WCU unit of Westville Correctional Facility A pod, but have been working on B pod since spring of 2022. That the defendant is assigned to A pod. That I do not practice Odinism. That I do not wear patches on my uniform that can be, that I do wear patches on my uniform that can be but are not associated with Odinism. So now you've got two different people that were wearing patches that are sort of the Norse guy, man. That I do wear patches on my uniform that can be but are not associated with Odinism. So they can be associated, but that's not why he says he wears them. That I do wear patches on, okay, and then that the patches pay the utmost respect to my religious higher power the same way a Christian person would wear a cross. That I am not part of a cult. That I am not part of a radical hate group. That I started wearing the patches when the vests were issued to me and stopped wearing the patches on September 19th per the order of my commander. That the patches do not represent racism or a hatred for anyone. That I have never had any interaction with the defendant that was not recorded. That I have never had any one-on-one interaction with the defendant where we were alone together. That it would be impossible for me to have any one-on-one interaction with the defendant because policy mandates that any time you engage with a member of that unit, you must be accompanied by another officer. That the defendant is on a security plan that mandates that at least 2 staff members and a video camera are present when interacting with the defendant. That I have interacted with the defendant alongside Sergeant Jones, but that it is always video monitored. That I have never threatened or harassed the defendant. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism. That I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way. Right, but you've had one-on-one conversations, right? That the only interactions that I have with the defendant are the ones that are required by my duties as a correctional officer. Any and every interaction that I have had with the defendant has been because I was ordered to by my commander. Command has never ordered me to threaten or harass or harm the defendant. When I do speak to the defendant, I give him basic commands as to how to move while he's out of his cell. That all my interactions with the defendant have been documented on a video camera. That I have always treated the defendant with a level of respect and professionalism. That the defense untruthfully targets me as part of a cult. That I am not familiar with the evidence involved in the defendant's case besides what I have seen in the public media. That I have never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I have been employed at Westville Correction Facility. I swear under penalty or of perjury, as specified by IC 354421, that the foregoing representations are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. Okay, there you go. And we died down yet again. Yeah, I don't know why they allow patches like that. So these affidavits here are specifically created to counter, what was in those documents. And there's no proof whatsoever that there was any odonistic, there's nothing at the crime scene that indicates odonism. And there's nothing in the, other than them assuming they're odonistic, that the guards were, but they're saying that no, I believe they're paganists. But it does give you some, something that sounded absolutely outlandish almost in the 136-page document. Turns out that there was some validity to that element, right? That they were literally wearing these patches that got removed. However, I think that was just used to, as a strategy against them. Well, it's the 136-page document is one of the most unprofessional documents I've ever read in my life, Sharon. So yeah, there's a lot of unprofessional stuff out there. Yeah, so there was that. Then revised state response. Hey, thanks for the reading wave attempt there, Dina. It's been a little bit of a struggle in here. All right, so here is this is also from today. State response to defendant's motion for discovery deadline. What's the other one? Okay. So let's see what this one says. You got a new picture on there, Zozo? That doesn't look like the one that you had before. Yeah, it was, yeah. Well, I went and visited my stepbrother, Andy. The one that, remember he had cancer a long time ago, and it sounds like that's gone away, but the, what's that called? Getting, God, man, simple shit just pops out in my head for some reason. Let's see. Like he had radiation and chemo. Yeah, chemo was the word I was looking for some reason. But yeah, he had a really dangerous cancer, and it spread and stuff like that. So, to an attempt to, aggressively to save his life, they were putting on all these different things, chemo and then radiation and stuff like that, and it really kind of messed up his body tremendously. It really,
Ocean wave.
He got this big thing in his shoulder, and that wasn't even a tumor; it was just some thing. Man. Anyway, so he had had that big thing on his shoulder. It wasn't even a tumor; it was just like this thing. And then his back, he had problems. And his right leg was working pretty good, but his left leg had drop foot. So then they did a surgery on him, and then it turns out where the surgery made it so he can't use his right leg right now currently, and so he's wheelchair bound. But he seems like he's improving, as he goes. So hopefully, all the nerves are still connected. So hopefully he'll be able to, get moving around again at some point. It's just crazy though, like chemo and stuff. God. Yeah. So I did that. Oh, and then we had to, my wife's car was making all these sounds and everything. So we just got a $2,900 bill to fix all of these things that have needed fixing on her vehicle. Had that one. And then I used the shower in here for the first time. Rode my exercise bike in here. You know, there's this program called what is this thing? It's called, and by the way, thanks for the attempt at the wave, Dina, but apparently nobody else wanted to go surfing. Let's see, what is this? Explore the world. So it's cool, you sync it up to the bike and it just sort of, you're riding down desert roads and you just sort of get lost in this zombie world, you know, like in your mind, you're just somewhere else. So that was kind of neat. And other than that, you know, just a regular old day. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas McClellan and respectfully files in response to the defendant's motion for discovery deadline and would ask the court to consider the following. That the state of Indiana filed 2 counts of murder against the defendant on October 28, 2022. That at the time of filing, the discovery material in this case consisted of thousands of tips consisting of phone messages and emails, thousands of police reports, video interviews, audio interviews, lab reports, pictures, phone extractions, and other documents of the like. That this investigation involved multiple law enforcement agencies from around the world, including a local and state police. Thanks, Linda Howell. Appreciate it. State Police, United States Marshal's Office, and the FBI. That when the state filed the charges, the discovery was not in a format that could easily be provided to the defense, meaning that all the paper documents had to be copied or scanned, and all the electronic data had to be copied to external hard drives, and all the reports from law enforcement had to be collected. That this consisted of hundreds of man-hours to copy each paper document associated with a 6-year investigation, along with copying, just says COPING, millions of terabytes of electronic data for the defense. That the state believes it has turned over everything in its possession and has no objection to a discovery deadline. That the state may learn of information in a deposition setting where defense counsel is present that will need to be investigated to prepare for trial. That does not mean that the state has reopened any investigation. It simply means that the state is doing its due diligence to prepare for trial. That the state will discover any exculpatory evidence received in preparation for trial. That the defense's theory...
Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave.
Well, I sure hope we get to that deadline so I can do that, get to the goal there so I can do the next show. Yeah, there's no way I'm just going to go watch the Blazers or something. Let's see. Millions of terabytes. Yeah, well, videos take up huge numbers of terabytes. So when everybody goes, ooh, all the terabytes, it's just videos, you guys. You could put an encyclopedia in there and it'd be like 2 megs, you know. So it's definitely not paper that's making up most of that size. It's either images or videos, and those take up a ton of space, like tons of space. So, you know, when people go, "Ooh, man, it's like 50 terabytes! Wow, wow, wow!" It doesn't mean what people think it means. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff in this case. It kind of sucks that you have to turn over all the crap about, you know, the early investigation into different people. Like, what does that have to do with anything? You know, That none of that worked, and now you found somebody. It seems like the discovery should be more about like what the investigation into Richard Allen is. You know, it's weird because that when you don't do that, it allows the defense to go, ooh, look at this. Let's try to twist this thing around and turn it into something. I wonder how that became a thing. That this consisted of hundreds of man. Okay, let's see. That does not mean that the state has reopened any investigation. So it says that the state may learn of information in a deposition setting where defense counsel is present that will need to be investigated to prepare for trial. That does not mean that the state has reopened any investigation. It simply means that the state is doing its due diligence to prepare for trial. Meaning they got to look at it, and then they can say, yeah, well, you know, then you have a counter to what the defense is going to try to do. That the state will discover any exculpatory evidence received in preparation for trial. That the defense theory that the state is intentionally withholding evidence because it is exculpatory is not true. There was never any evidence intentionally withheld from the defense at any time. That the state does not believe it is in possession of any exculpatory evidence for the defense. That the allegation that the state held onto evidence until it knew about the defense theory has no basis or facts in support thereof. Any additional requests for discovery have been answered, and any discovery in possession of the state pursuant to the request has been turned over. That the defense has not turned over one piece of evidence from their investigation, interviews, or their participation in this case. That the state requests any discovery deadline be imposed upon both parties and the defendant be subject to Carroll County local rules in which the defendant is required to disclose the names of any witnesses he intends to call at a trial, any hearing, along with their last known address. Let me ask you guys something that popped into my head. You know how when Carter, in one of those interviews, he said something to the effect of, this case is really complicated. It's really complex. And this was after the arrest of Richard Allen. What's complex about it if it's just Richard Allen? I mean, really, honestly, it's sort of complex with the witnesses and the timing and stuff like that. But other than that, it's just kind of, sort of basic. So I think when those comments like that make me think that there is more stuff, like that's where the Keegan Kline information comes in. That's what I think. Yeah, he didn't say that in regards to I just heard him today, the same interview. He said it's very complicated. So you might have heard a different one. That's not the one I was listening to. Man, I'm bored stiff in here. Even on my own show. Isn't that amazing? Man, you guys are unbelievable. There has never any evidence intentionally withheld from defense at this time. Okay, I think we're down there. That the defense has not turned over one piece of evidence from their investigation. All right, we were down here. Let's see. Along with the names of any witnesses he intends to call at trial or any hearing, along with their last known address, copies of their recorded statements. Now they're putting the pressure back on the defense. And or recorded statements, any books, papers, documents, photographs, or tangible objects he intends to use as evidence at trial or any hearing, any medical, scientific, or expert witness evaluations, statements, reports, or testimony which may be used at trial or any hearing, any defense, procedural or substantive, which the defendant intends to make any hearing or trial any record of prior criminal convictions known to the defendant or defense counsel that may be used for impeachment of the persons whom the defense intends to call at any hearing or trial. The state has received no reciprocal discovery thus far. No, it's not my birthday. Oh, well, it's almost my birthday, though. I forgot. Yeah, it's almost my birthday. That's funny. No, as you can tell, it's not my birthday. We're having one of the worst nights we've had in months up here on the Super Chat front. So we're just trying to figure out what's the element tonight that makes it different than last night. We just don't know. Yeah, that's not the one we're talking about. What are you talking about, Just Junie? God, what a random comment. That has nothing to do with anything. He didn't say that in the interview that I'm talking about. But look up there, it says, Carter said something to the effect of tentacles. That was 8 comments ago, and that was said 5 minutes ago. And there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. Yeah, I think it might be connected to that. You could pretend it's my birthday. Yeah. Further, the state would ask the court to admonish the defense to turn over any evidence as they get it and not dump all the evidence on the state on November 1st. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan and files their response to the defendant's motion for discovery request and ask the court to consider the same and for all others just and proper relief in the premises. Hey, you can pretend it's my birthday. Yeah. Yeah. But Zoe, how come you're not a channel member? You know, who are you? Yeah, let's have, I mean, do you come in here very much? I mean, I think I see you from time to time. My birthday's on the 16th. That's what it almost means. It's in 6 days. That's why I was like, wait, is it? I didn't even know what day it was, you know. Thanks, Karen H. No, I'll keep it. I think Joe Biden's one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States. So yeah, I'll just keep saying that over and over again. But thanks for reminding me. I think even Democrats realize that Joe Biden's terrible, okay? So you guys need to find somebody better coming in the next time. Hey, happy birthday. You might think he's a good man, but he's not really a good man, Kevin. Don't you remember the part where he plagiarized and stole other people's speeches, much like Slow Joe, the YouTuber, did, and pretended it was his, and then he was called out by all of the media, and they all said he has no chance of ever winning again because he kept doing it, stealing other people's speeches, but somehow it all got forgotten. That's amazing. Go look it up. Man, I wasn't even talking about Biden.
Stop insulting President.
Who cares if you think he's a good man? I think he's a pile of shit. I think Joe Biden is a terrible person. I don't know what he's doing. He's over there hugging little kids, like really creepy shit that he does on the side. You know, talking about corn pop and all this crap. He is like, people don't call him out on it, but he says racist things all the time. Like, there hasn't been a 7-Eleven where somebody from... Yeah, he says that and it's okay. Man, Listen, I know, listen, even if you're a Democrat, just realize he's terrible. Okay? So find somebody better to run next time. And if you don't like me because I don't like that, I don't care. I think he is god-awful and an embarrassment to this country. And you out there, the Democrats, thought Trump was the same way. That's fine. Go ahead and think whatever you want to think. But I'm just telling you that a lot of the problems we're seeing in the world is because Biden is the president. Right? He is awful. And that is a technical truth. You can see even in the polls, he's got like a 30% approval rating. He's awful. Okay? And if you can, come to terms with that, and I'm telling you with the same certainty that I talk about true crime with. I'm sorry, if you don't agree, that's just your own ignorance. Okay? He is horrible. All right? And it's okay that I think that, and it's okay that you hate Trump. Okay? I think Biden is the worst president we have ever had. He is horrible. Okay? And I can think that. And just because I think it doesn't mean you have to hate me, right? It means that I don't think like you. Because I didn't hate you when you hated Trump. Remember that? So grow up. It's embarrassing. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyways, let me get to this next part here. No, I don't care if you don't buy it. It's true, though, Karen. All right? Don't be a Karen. All right, so we're on the state response to defense verify. And by the way, this whole conversation right now is your fault, Karen. Because you thought you would be clever and sneak it into a super chat. I don't want you to send me another super chat in your life if you're going to throw a little comment in like that again to create a problem on a show. What a joke. And I've always knew that you do those kind of things, and I tell people that, and you wonder why. Gosh, Gray, I'm blocked. How come I'm blocked, Gray? And then you send me emails, and I have to unblock you, and all this stuff, and now we see where it comes from. You got this weird sort of passive-aggressive behavior thing where you say shit in a super chat. Wow. That's wild. Yeah. Anyways, hey, where are you at, Mary Lou? You guys sing happy birthday for Zoe.
I do. Who the hell's that?
Well, Zoe 413.
Yeah, again, who's that?
I don't know. Somebody that shows up every once in a while. She's not a channel member, though.
Well, you want me to sing happy birthday?
Yeah. Okay.
Happy birthday to Zoe 413. Happy birthday to Zoe 413. Happy birthday, dear Zoe 413. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That was terrible, Mary Lou. Absolutely god-awful. Much like how Biden is. Let's see. Right, Zozo. I mean, that's exactly right. See, what I don't like are people who, even when you see the reality of how horrible somebody's doing, because you're so political in nature, you can't admit it. So here's the thing. If you think Biden's doing a good job and he's great, there's something wrong with your brain. That is the truth. Okay? Now, if you don't like Trump, that's okay too. All right? You could say to people, there's something wrong with your brain. You could do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, he is horrible. Okay? And it's not just an opinion, it's reality. And even his own people are saying that. They cringe talking about him. So when you see that, just realize it, okay? And here we go. We're gonna lose like 50, 60 subs again, 70, 80. I don't care. Go do something else. All right? Wow. And blame it all on Karen up there, who was being a Karen and typed in a super chat. Good, Gray. Maybe you'd make more. Yeah, maybe it's true. But why don't you prove her wrong, everybody? Help support the Grady Hughes Investigates channel regardless of what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. All right. Although tonight doesn't seem like anything's going to help out. Let's see. Here to bring balance. Right. Yeah. And see, the thing is, I understand why people don't like why people didn't like Trump. You know, I too don't like how the tweeting and this kind of crazy little things he gets in with people and stuff like that. I understand those things. I do, everybody. I guess I got thrown in prison. There we go. Where is it? And I'm in the jail. Hey, there you go. I've got great. Daphne said so mean. Look it. She threw me in prison, and now to get through this, we got to get out of here. You've been here 8 months, Tracy? Awesome. Excellent. Well, it doesn't matter, Karen. There, even when before I was talking about anything, there was no support on the channel. Okay, so look at Karen right there, hoping you guys don't send in super chats because of what I just said about Biden. All right, did you see that up there? She types in, "Let's see if they support you." Well, you know what's weird is you supported me, and then said in it that. What a ridiculous. It's your fault, Karen. Jesus, it's ridiculous. And then you wonder why you get blocked sometimes. I never am the one that blocks you, but now I can see why somebody else might have blocked you twice now, and I add you back in. Thank you, Nikki Zubs. Cough. Minus Bill for Gray. Sigs for Trade. And I know this, my channel isn't generally, it's like 5% political. If that, I mean, like 1% I'll bring something up. But whenever I do, boy, if I don't say exactly, why can't it be like anything else that I say? See, I talk about cases and people don't agree with what I'm saying, right? They don't agree with it. So why can't it be exactly the same why is everybody so personal when you don't agree with them politically? Why is that? Why has it become like that in this country? Hey, thanks, Kathy Fredmaker and Music Maker. Well, there you go, Karen. I guess they helped out. Who cares who they are? Who cares? Hey, I have one of the best doctors in the world as a parent, and he voted for him once. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Listen, everybody, Karen just told us that her brother's a judge. And another that's a scientist, and none of them voted for Trump. Oh, hey, there we go. That must be the factual evidence. And who's talking about Trump anyways? I never brought his name up until you did. Yes, I don't mind if people bash Biden. People bashed Trump all the time, too, in here. Yeah, well, that's true, Zozo, but it falls on deaf ears. If you don't like Trump, okay. You guys want to hear the reality about how it all worked? When Trump became the nominee, he was the Democrats loved Trump before that. They'd always have him on in interviews and thought he was so fun and awesome. And hey, thanks, Schroeder and Jiggy. But once he was running against a Democrat, they turned everything against him and dug up as much stuff as they could and just digging around, and even inventing stuff. The media for 4 years invented stuff and pinned it on Trump. Now, when people say, I don't think the election itself was rigged like in terms of the machines and everything like that. I think what rigged means is that when you have an entire media complex putting out false information to make somebody way less appealing, that affects the election dramatically. And that is the reality of what happened. Almost every single thing. Now, all the stuff he's in trouble for now are stuff that happened after the election was over. Okay? The stuff before, all of those stuff, the Russian collusion, there was a whole bunch of just all kinds of things were all false and absolutely proven to be false. And remember the whole thing about the hey, remember when he'd say, well, man, the virus was created in a lab in China, the coronavirus. And the left would go, oh, what a conspiracy, wacko, and what a crazy... They would go on and on and on like he was a nut job. And the truth is now the FBI says that the coronavirus was created in a lab in the Wuhan lab of virality, or what's it? Viral. God, I can't even say the word right now. But it was created in the Wuhan lab, and that was known for a while. Okay, and so virology. That's what I was looking for. And it's just so creepy to me that you guys, a lot of you don't see that because you got the guy in you wanted. I think the media right now is scary in our country. They are, you can't have the media where they're all hell-bent on getting a certain person elected. They got to go out and tell the truth. There wasn't truth going on. There was no Russian collusion. It never happened. It was proven to be false, and it was actually a campaign paid for by Hillary Clinton. They had one of her operatives go out and feed this. Isn't it weird? Like, how come nobody got mad at her for doing that? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want, you don't need to, I'm the one that's talking to Karen. None of you guys need to be talking to Karen. Anyways, thank you guys up there. And Karen, see, you're incorrect. Thank you to Caligal3 and Jiggy England and Schroeder and Music Maker and Kathy Fried Maker and Daphne and Simply Me and Nikki Zubs. Right. So I think what people should be really nervous about is the media, because if it ever turns around and you're on the other side of your philosophical beliefs, you'll see exactly what people were absolutely upset about. No, well, January 6th was well, everybody, you know, you'd have to be totally disconnected to not know January 6th. That was the Trump had a rally over there at the Capitol building, and then people were going to go march over to the Capitol, and he told everybody to do it peacefully. He said it out loud multiple times, and you know he wanted Pence to maybe stop the certification of the election and stuff like that because he didn't believe it was accurate. But these people went over there, and some people broke into the Capitol building. At the time, I wasn't perceiving it like at the time. I was like, man, you can't allow people to bust in like that, and you shouldn't allow them to do that. But when you look at it in some of the videos that they have out later that show the whole day and everything, there was people that were kind of like normally walking through, and the cops were actually, the guy with the horns on his head, they actually walked him into the room, and he was, he sat there, and they were, he was listening to what they were asking him to do and stuff. It was really weird, it was really weird. But I think the treatment of the people that just keeps going on and prosecuting all of them over and over and over again, when there's no prosecutions whatsoever of all the crazy people who loot and steal and burn buildings and all the riots that were all around the entire country all the time. In fact, they were all like, let go and everything's cool. But man, let's all go after the Republican people who had a shitty moment. It's so weird. Like one day, and the whole, like for 2 years, cities were burning and nothing happened to those people. And can you ask why? What's the answer to that question? I don't know. Hey, thanks K-Me and Caligal3. YouTube would not send my message with Biden spelled out. Oh, really?
Send my message with BIDEN spelled out.
Yeah, and look at up there, she said. Caligal said, come on, guys. Sorry, Karen, I just like Old Man Joe, too. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of Democrats that can't stand the guy either. But there's people out there that are really politically oriented, so whenever you bring up something like that, they just have no ability to see the reality of it, because it's their guy. And I can see somebody being tricked into thinking he's a good person. Okay, but yeah. Let me ask you this. Does anybody believe that Hunter Biden, when he refers to the big guy, isn't talking about his dad? Because there's actually a guy named Bobolinsky who met with Joe Biden as part of this whole thing. I mean, seriously, is there anybody out there that really doesn't think that? Like, that his dad had no idea that his son was using his name, and every once in a while he'd get on the phone and talk to those people, and it had nothing, he wasn't benefiting at all. I mean, give me a break, you guys. I mean, just, you know. If it was Trump, you would believe every single freaking thing that was said. But it's not, because it's your guy, and you're not going to believe it. It's so damning, it's unbelievable. And somehow, he just skates by in the public's eye. Anyways, do you guys mind if I get back to the... I was just going to... We just had to get through this last document about the... now this is one about the state's response to defense verified motion for immediate transfer of custody. And by the way, everybody, if what I just said makes you hate me, just unsubscribe immediately. Okay? Because whenever you say something like, oh man, I think Trump's an idiot, I do not block you from the channel. Okay? I don't agree with you and stuff like that on various things, but can it just be okay to not think the way you do? And let me just say this too. I don't respect Joe Biden at all. And normally you respect a person in office just because they're in office, and man, I just don't at all. I think he is the scum of the earth. All right? And that's my opinion. And I'm sorry I feel that way, but I just do. It sucks to feel that way about your own president. All right?
Good evening, freaks.
All right. So this one says, now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan and respectfully files its response to the defendant verified motion of immediate transfer of custody and would ask the court to consider the following. The charges were filed against the defendant, Richard Allen, on October 28th, 2022 for counts of murder in violation, it gives a statute. That the Carroll County Sheriff's Department requested that the defendant be transferred to the Indiana Department of Corrections for safekeeping, and said request was granted. Yeah, I mean, it's okay if you guys don't like him. Apparently, I'm not supposed to ever say what I think in the political realm on my show, lest I want to be, canceled by the hard lefties on the channel. Just be okay with people not liking him. He's a very unlikable person. He is absolutely, I would say, an embarrassment as the President of the United States, okay? He embarrasses our country on a daily basis. Now, you might have said the same thing about Trump, and maybe he made you feel that way, okay? But also, people kind of just did what he was saying to do all the time. Thanks, Southern Mom. Yeah, and I wish it was just okay that I can say that I don't like him at all. And I think if you were honest with yourself, you would see the same shit that everybody else sees, right? Yeah, remember how gross that stuff was, Stephanie? Wasn't that amazing? He took showers with his daughter. And then they have this granddaughter that Jill won't even recognize as being a human being. It's just, these people aren't good, man. They're not good. Hunter has an illegitimate child out there. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And they won't acknowledge that child as being any relation whatsoever. Yeah, why can't people just say what they think? And, I guess when I say what I think, I have to deal with the ramifications of the sort of the Karens of the world, the other ones, where they just get so riled up, and It just is what it is. That's right. I thought you were. I know you're in AR. I know. It doesn't to me either, Gummo. Like I don't dislike. Like I don't dislike Karen H for not liking. What I don't like is her creating this whole thing tonight by putting that in a super chat. Yeah, I mean, his speech today was, said some of the right stuff in it. Gave unequivocal support. I agree with the stuff that was said in there. He left out a lot of really important stuff, though. And the thing is there shouldn't be a soul in the world that supports anything that Hamas did. All right? The fact that there's people waving around Palestinian flags, that means you're supporting what just happened. And it's just not okay, man. You got 40 babies with their heads cut off. And you're going to be dancing around celebrating it? Wow. Oh, sorry, Karen Andrews. It's dedicated to Richard Allen getting tased and to other Karen who loves Sleepy Joe. Trump won. There's Karen Andrews right there. Hey, thank you. He may have, had the media not falsely accused him on literally almost everything. I think one of the things, when I first noticed it, you guys want to hear when I first noticed it, where it was really big, was when it was during the Charlottesville event. When the media said, man, he said there's good people on the white supremacist side. Man, ooh, wow. He said that. And they just cut the clip. They cut it in a way that made it sound like that. But when you watch the whole 15-minute speech, he says, I condemn white supremacists. I condemn racism. But then he said, and he also condemns the violence on both sides. He said, but there were good people on both sides there, and he went on to explain it. Oh. Well, thank you. He went on to explain it that there were good people on both sides. Some people just didn't want the statues taken down that had been in their community for decades, 100 years even. And then there were people on the other side that just peacefully were protesting they wanted to remove the statues, right? But they made it sound like he was a racist by saying there were good people on both sides, and as if there was some... It was really disturbing the way they edited that stuff. So it's like a little tactic that they use, and people are like, oh, did you see that? And it was another bogus thing, and I realized... Look at the depths they go through to make it seem a certain way. Really crazy. Yeah, for the big guy. Let's see. All right, so anyways, it says that the defendant was transferred to Westville Correctional Facility and has been housed there since November 3rd, 2022. All right. That within the facility... He is housed in segregation unit for his safety and protection. That the defense previously filed an emergency motion to modify the safekeeping order on April 5th, 2023, which was denied. That the defense then filed a motion to reconsider and a request for due process hearing on May 3rd, 2023. That a hearing was held, after which the court denied the defense's motion to modify the safekeeping order, stating that the allegations advanced by the defense were not supported by the evidence presented. The court added that the defendant was being treated more favorably than other inmates. Hey, maybe they are Odinists, you guys. Remember I was saying that if they were Odinists, wouldn't they treat him better? The court further commented that it was reasonable, but that's not what the defense said. The court further commented that it was reasonable and necessary to house the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility to ensure the defendant's safety, to prevent serious bodily injury to himself. That the defense has now filed a verified motion for immediate transfer of custody, alleging additional mistreatment of the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility. That in the defense latest motion, the defense now accuses Westville Correctional Facility correctional officers Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones of unjust and inhuman treatment of the defendant. That once again, the allegations in the defendant motion, while colorful and dramatic, are not correct. That both Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones have worn patches that refer to Odinism. That those patches reflect Sergeant Robinson's and Sergeant Jones' religious beliefs and are not associated with any kind of cult. That Sergeant Jones did not remove the patches from his vest until ordered to by command. That Sergeant Jones is assigned to B pod of the unit while the defendant is housed in A pod. That Sergeant Jones assists with moving the defendant from one spot to another within the facility and also has been tasked with the 15-minute check-in with the defendant facilitated by the Mental Health Safety Plan. That Sergeant Jones does not choose which detail he works and works the details that he is assigned to by his command. That Sergeant Jones did remain at his post while the defendant visited with his wife because that is what he was assigned to do. That the defense seems to imply that Sergeant Jones should have left his post in violation of his direct orders and therefore risk his employment just so the defendant and his wife could have more privacy. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The fact that defense expects the defendant and his wife to have intimate privacy in a prison is astonishing. The Sergeant Jones has never threatened, harassed, or spoken one-on-one with the defendant. That Sergeant Jones was never ordered by his command to threaten or harass the defendant. That the defendant was tased twice between May 9th, 2023 and May 25th, 2023 because he could not allow the commands of the, not follow the commands of the correctional officers. So he was tased twice. There you go. That's that super chat, tase. I'm just reading. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't. Who are you saying cheated, Neil? Who are you talking about? I never said anything about anybody cheating. I think that the media created a situation where a person who didn't even go out and talk to a soul would win because it was anybody but. Yeah. Karen, it sounds like you found your one little buddy in here, Neil. Okay, but he doesn't even make any sense, but you want him to make sense, so you comment like he made a lot of sense. It's crazy. Wow. Come on. Don't tase me. Yeah, I remember that one. Don't tase me, bro. I think that was when he tried. Who was he? He was at. That guy was at some sort of a not an interview. A speech by somebody. I can't remember who that was, though. Wasn't it? It was during I thought it was during like an election of some sort. Yeah, I remember that in the auditorium. Yeah, I can't remember who the guy was, though, that it was for. Well, what other side is there, the boys? Hey, Paul Hallett, in honor of the innocent Israeli victims of jihadist terrorism and in support of the brave men and women defending the right of the Jewish people to exist. God bless Israel. Hey, totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you. And thanks for supporting my channel. Yeah, well, my parents are 80-something years old, Karen. Let me just tell you, my father was considered the best in the world at what he does, Karen. So go work on yourself. You're not as smart as you think you are, okay? If you can't see that Sleepy Joe is just that and he isn't doing well, even though the polls, including your own party, have him at like 30-something% approval, then I'm sorry that you can't see it. You know, he's not good. He's not good. And I can understand why you don't like, if you don't like Trump, you don't like Trump. It's okay. Okay? But you're the one, Karen, who, out of nowhere, brought up the whole thing in a super chat nonetheless. Passive aggressive. Don't you think? Who said you couldn't, the boys? But here's the thing, the boys. I don't even know who you are. I've never seen you before in my life. So you seem like you came in here just to be like a problem creator. See, Karen, you're probably going to end up being blocked again, and then you'll say, gosh, Gray, why was I blocked?
In honor of the innocent Israeli victims of jihadist terrorism and in support of the brave men and women defending the right of the Jewish people to exist. God bless Israel.
That's right. That's right. Well said. My Gray's parents. I can just tell you, they're a hell of a lot. You could find dumber people, I can tell you. Saying. Yeah, well, probably not much longer though, the boys. Your attitude isn't great, Like, I don't even know you. Barely ever talked to you before, and you're in here insulting the way, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. The chat represents the exact same percentage of people who have an approval rating. There's probably like 30% of the people in here. And here's the thing, the 30% of the people that approve, I would bet you half of them are only approving because they're political. All right, the other 15 are just nut jobs. The ones that are just like, wow, I'm just a diehard Democrat. You could have a Republican come in here that could cure cancer and was the greatest person in the world. I'll never vote for him because I'm a Democrat. So there's those people out there, and. My thing is, I just want to vote for somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like, again, the whole Mike Rowe experiment. Imagine if somebody like that came in there who was just like an independent. I'd vote for a guy like that. He'd be awesome. But apparently you can't even have those kind of conversations. It's just... Yeah, I would. Anyways, all I have to do is get through this and then we'll play the Grady Judd press conference from today, and then I'll take off for a while, and then we'll come back and see if we can get some Israelis to call in on the phone. What do you guys think of that? That inmate Robert Baston has written a few letters to the court claiming that correction officers within the Westville Correctional Facility are corrupt. That inmate Robert Baston is a convicted child molester under cause number serving 40 years. Right, so they're using him as, wow, he's a witness that they're corrupt in there. That throughout this case, Robert Baston has asked for modification after modification throughout his case, citing wrongful conviction, the COVID pandemic, and even because the doc is providing the wrong kind of soap. That Robert Baston throughout his sentence has tried every means imaginable to reduce or modify a sentence for his heinous crime. That at the hearing on June 15, 2023, the defense subpoenaed inmate Robert Batson to court so that he could give a sworn statement to the court, and inmate Robert Batson refused to leave his cell. That the allegations by inmate Robert Baston are hardly credible. That the defense allegations that the correctional officers are attempting to conceal unacceptable practices is false. That Sheriff Tony Liggett has no vested interest in keeping the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility other than that the safety and well-being of the defendant. That the defendant insinuates that Sergeant Robinson and Sergeant Jones were assigned to assist with the moving of the defendant because they believe in Odinism, and that the Westville... See, this, didn't I tell you guys that what they're implying is that the leaders of the prison and higher-ups are Odinists, and they're the ones that assigned these two cops. That's kind of what they're implying here. Now, the defense insinuates that Sergeant Robinson and Sergeant Jones were assigned to assist with the moving of the defendant because they believe in Odinism. So somebody else, knowing they believed in Odinism, assigned them there. That's crazy. Did this some effort to, let's see, and that Westville Command intentionally did this in some effort to mistreat the defendant. That Warden John Gallipo has signed an affidavit attached to this response that ensures that no one is in command had an agenda related to Odinism or even ordered anyone under their command to harass or threaten the defendant. That Sergeant Jones and Sergeant Robinson have both signed affidavit attached to this response that outline their duties in the facility and affirm that they have never treated, harassed, or made any references to Odinism to the defendant. That both Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones were interviewed at Westville Correctional Facility by investigators on September 18th, and both were found to be cleared of any wrongdoing. That neither Sergeant Robinson nor Sergeant Jones are part of a radical hate group. That defense continues to make unfounded accusations supported by absolutely no proof. And ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? That the defendant is isolated for his protection and would be isolated if he were moved to another facility. That the defendant is moved to the Cass County Jail. He will be placed in essentially the same kind of holding cell that he is now, with the exception that it would be more convenient for the defense. That the Carroll County Sheriff's Department does not have the manpower to transport the defendant. I don't know about that. That the Carroll County Jail does not have mental health counselors. Now, that makes sense, because you've claimed he's mentally ill, remember? Amazingly, it'll all clear up as soon as he gets transferred. Watch, they'll find a doctor that'll say, we think his mental health will significantly improve upon accepting a letter that he can be transferred. That the defendant is in no way being treated less fairly than anyone else in that facility. He certainly is not being treated less fairly than a convicted person in that facility. That the colorful, dramatic language used by the defense was an attempt to curry public favor. I thought the 136-page defense article was that document was one of the worst written, most childish, sarcastic documents I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, anyways. The colorful, dramatic language used by the defense was an attempt to curry public favor for their client and try this matter in the public eye instead of in the courtroom, as they have done in several motions to date. That again, the state has no opinion on where the defendant should be housed awaiting trial, but the state does take offense to the irresponsible allegations of the defense in their motion, including accusing 2 correctional officers of wrongdoing with absolutely no proof of such. That the state has no, and they even said in there, well, this is what Richard Allen would have said had he, it's like, what? In the footnotes. That the state has no objection to the defendant being moved to a facility, right? That the defendant's current placement at Westville Correctional Facility is not a violation of his civil liberties. That the conditions that the defendant is housed in have not changed since the last time this issue was litigated in front of the court on June 15th. That the Carroll County Sheriff's Department declined the request of defense to move the defendant because the Carroll County Sheriff's Department does not have the manpower. That the Department of Corrections is more equipped to transfer the defendant back and forth to court dates in order to keep the defendant safe and ensure that he makes it to all future hearings. That the defense is consuming the limited resources of this office and this court with repetitive motions that lack any factual basis. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan, etc., etc., etc. Well, there you go. So the drama continues with Richard Allen, and apparently in the chat as well. Yeah, I don't like talking about politics. I mean, I actually don't mind myself, but I don't like it when, because watch this. Just for the hell of it, you guys. Come watch, go read the comments, and leave a comment yourself after the show. But watch how people in the comments will go, gosh, Gray, I came here to hear about the Richard Allen stuff, not talk politics. And the thing is, I can talk about whatever the hell I want to, and sometimes that's one of the problems when you have a huge event like this, a terrorist attack. And now you see some of the ramifications you get when you have somebody as weak as our president is in office, making deals with Iran, giving him $6 billion. Iran fully funds Hamas and Hezbollah so they can fight against Israel as their proxies. Now we've got Syria coming. It's really obvious to anybody that's paying attention. And look what they did and what happened in the Ukraine too. I mean, it's amazing. There was nothing. I don't really know how to do a quick recap of that. Basically, well, I can give you a quick one. Let's see. The warden of the prison said that Richard Allen was treated correctly, sign an affidavit. Then there's 2 guards at the prison, I guess, for lack of a better term. They, both of them said that they did wear patches of the Nordic, gods or whatever, and paganism, but they don't even know what Odinism means. And they signed affidavits regarding that. And they didn't choose to monitor anything related to Richard Allen. They were assigned there. So, you know, basically, and then the prosecution then later, you know, had another document about the transferring of him, and they don't really care if he's transferred or not. I can just give you the PDFs if you want. If you want to just read it yourself. I mean, it's pretty long stuff. No, who cares if he? I mean, what? I mean, hey, listen. Hey, Karen, I'm glad that your husband served in the United States Marine Corps. That's awesome. What does that have to do with you or what I have to say about Biden? I really appreciate your husband's service. I don't think he would appreciate you using him, though, as if there's leverage in that when you say, my husband served in the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Army. How about you? I mean, what does that have to do with a damn thing? You didn't serve in the military. What an embarrassment. Hey, thanks, Regina George. Yeah, I like to do politics. I mean, I wish I could just talk about whatever I wanted to, you know. I mean, sometimes, what a joke. Can you believe somebody would type that in? My daddy's better than yours. My daddy could beat up your daddy. Listen to me. My cousin's boyfriend's aunt's sister's dog walker is a Navy SEAL. How about you? Huh? How about you? Yeah. This is nuts. All right, you guys want to watch the Grady Judd press conference now? Maybe get on to something else? All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Maybe I need to do that for a minute. Where's this? Does that one do it? Or is it this one? Hold on. No, that's the same one. I think it was under Jazz and Cool Cats, right? Isn't that it?
Hey, Greg, what's going on?
Hey, what are you doing, Greg?
Hey, I want to do a rap, Greg.
No, I want to do it.
Well, I want to do it.
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 Collaborate and listen as I'm back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flows like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow to the extreme. I rock the mic like a vandal, light up the stage. I like to jump like a candle, dance. Cause the speakers are boom, killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom, deadly. When I play a dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it, leave it, better gain weight. Better hit bullseye, the kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook where my DJ revolves it. Now that the party is jumping, with the bass kicked in and the Vegas are pumping, quick to the point, cause the point no faking, cooking MCs like a pound of bacon, burning them, get quick and nimble. Go crazy when I hear the cymbal with a hi-hat, with a super tempo. I'm on a roll, time to go solo rolling. In my 5.0 with a rag top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi. Did she stop? No, just drove down, kept on. Close to until the next stop. About the left, I'm headed to the next block. Block of dead, y'all, so I continue to A1A. Detroit Avenue. Girls wear hot, never rest in bikinis. Rockmen, lovers, rebel Lamborghinis. Jealous, cause I'm out getting mine. She was a gate and vanilla was a 9. Gunshots ranged out like a bell. I grabbed a 9, out of her was shells falling on the concrete real fast. Jumped in my car, slammed on the gas. Bumper to bumper, avenues packed. Trying to get away from the jackers. Jack, police on the scene, you know what I mean? Zip out the up in front of a dope fiend. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the book of my DJ revolves it. Here's a little story that I got to tell about 3 bad brothers you know so well. Started way back in history with that Rock MCA and me, Mike D. Had a little horse and name was Paul Revere. Put my horsey in a quart of beer. Running as a land, kicking up sand. Parents tossed down my pill cause I'm in demand. One lonely beastie I be, all by myself without no party. But someone's beating down on my baseball hat. It was getting hot, beer was getting flat. Looking for a girl, I ran into a guy. His name is MCA, I said howdy, he said hi. He told a little story that sounded well rehearsed. 4 days on the run and then he's dying of thirst. The brew was in my hand and he was on my tip. His rose, right, asked me for a sip. He said, "Can I get some?" I said, "You can't get none." Had a chance to run, pulled a shotgun, quick on the draw. I thought I'd be dead. He put the gun to my head and this is what he said. Playing him, me and guy licensed to kill. I hope you know what time it is, it's time to get ill. Now what do we have here? I'm not long as beer. I run this land, you want to sell and make myself clear. He stepped into the wind, he had a gun, he had a grin. You think the story's over, but it's ready to begin.
Wow, that was pretty good, Mary Lou.
Hey, thanks, Gray.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's do the Grady Judd now. Yeah, that was like the good old days.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being with me today as I go over information about Operation Child Protector 4.
This is on, this first little part's on WFLA, and then it gets over because he says something about Israel at the beginning that wasn't on his own website's one. Oh, look at that. Cali Gal 3 was dancing around. That's awesome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being with me today as I go over information about Operation Child Protector 4. But before I do that, I first and foremost want to extend my heartfelt words for the state of Israel and all of the people there that are the victims of the Hamas terrorists.
See how I always feel like I'm like I feel like a brethren of Grady Judd. We just say what we think. And when I listen to him here, I feel like he said almost exactly what I was thinking and what I was saying the first night when people would come in and go, "Wow, finally somebody's saying something." Everybody else is just reporting like it's one of these things where it's just sort of like, yeah, okay, now here's what...
OMG, I'm dancing.
Come on, man. You guys got to put out your... This is an opinion. People need to put out their opinion on what's going on in Israel. Not just, well, today there was 14, this is something that is evil, personified, one of the worst things you could ever imagine. Absolutely horrifying. And it's cool to hear Grady Judd bring this up at the beginning of this. The rest of it's about them arresting 6 more pedophiles. And I think it's interesting because the Delphi case, the more that we'd gone over it, it seems like there's some element there, like the child pornography, something going on there. I got to go find that one speech where, or wherever it was where he was saying Carter was saying, it's very complex, and it doesn't seem too complex, really, for Richard Allen, so there must be a whole other bunch of stuff going on. I think when we find out what really happened, we're going to just be like, whoa, this is crazy.
Are the victims of the Hamas terrorist. I've heard them referred to other things. They are murdering terrorists, and that's exactly what they are. So for those in the media, if someone suggests to you that they're just militants, that is absolutely false. They're murdering, torturing terrorists.
Boom.
And the people of Israel
Awesome.
and all of the victims have been in my prayers from the very beginning and will continue to be in my prayers. Quite frankly, I'm sorry that I can't be there shoulder to shoulder fighting the terrorist with them, but I can assure you that we're going to do everything possible in our homeland to protect the...
You don't tell me this guy wouldn't make a great attorney general or secretary of state or something like that. I mean, you know, like a really defense secretary, even though he's not a military, he's law enforcement. Whatever it is, let's just agree to this: that Grady Judd's philosophy needs to filter down to the rest of law enforcement in the United States. Okay.
Jewish people from any attacks and any other people.
Let's just start this over, and I won't interrupt. It's worth listening to.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being with me today as I go over information about Operation Child Protector 4. But before I do that, I first and foremost want to extend my heartfelt words for the state of Israel and all of the people there that are the victims.
He doesn't have to be an attorney to be the attorney general. Okay, just so you know.
Of the Hamas terrorist. I've heard them referred to other things. They are murdering terrorists, and that's exactly what they are. So for those in the media, if someone suggests to you that they're just militants, that is absolutely false. They're murdering, torturing terrorists. And the people of Israel and all of the victims have been in my prayers from the very beginning and will continue to be in my prayers. Quite frankly, I'm sorry that I can't be there shoulder to shoulder fighting the terrorist with them, but I can assure you that we're going to do everything possible in our homeland to protect the Jewish people from any attacks and any other people from any attacks. That is absolutely unacceptable. And I don't have words strong enough for my anger toward this terrorist attack upon the people of Israel. So with that, on September the 19th to the 25th.
And so that cuts over. That's where his own website, Polk County Sheriff's website, this is where it started up right here.
For 7 days, we did 2 operations at the same time. One was a human trafficking operation that resulted in 219 arrests, and you covered that in the media. The other that was the sexual predator operation that resulted in 6 arrests. These 6 people here. I want you to get a good look at these folks, because these are people that thought they were going to come have sex with children. They came to a strange undercover location thinking that they were going to encounter a 13 or a 14 or a 15-year-old child.
Now, I guess you do have to have a, let's see. Well, it says you have to have a degree and an active member of the bar and have at least 1 year of legal or relevant experience. So maybe that would disqualify him. I thought you could just be you're appointed, though, but I guess that would be something that, man, that sucks. Maybe he does, though, I don't know, but he's a sheriff, and man, how do you not get this guy? Like, if you were in a president, wouldn't you want this guy at some capacity to have his philosophy filter down through all of the other law enforcement agencies. Like maybe there's something else like Homeland Security. How about that one? Like he runs Homeland Security. Maybe that's a good place. I don't know if you'd have to have any sort of legal schooling to do that. That'd be awesome, man.
They're dangerous. If it weren't
hell,
for
make him the head of the FBI.
outstanding work
Or
of
that
the
wouldn't really
men and
filter
women of
down.
law enforcement, they absolutely would have attacked children had it not been an undercover operation. We were joined by our colleagues because no one agency
What are you talking
can
about,
do this by
Justin
themselves
Oki? What does that
as
have to do with anything?
successfully as we can working together. The Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Lakeland Police Department, the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office, the Tampa Police Department, and the Lake County Sheriff's Office joined us in this operation. And as a result, we took some very, very bad people off the street. So I want to introduce you to them. I want you to see what a pedophile looks like. I want you to see what someone looks like and some of the words that they say whenever they're caught thinking they're going to have sex with children.
Oh, we just want
The
to be
first one is
friends.
Douglas Cooley. He's 26. He's from Apopka. He's employed by the Discover Aftercare. You see, this is a program that is on the Orange County School District's property. To be specific, the Clay Springs Elementary
Thanks,
School,
Tyler.
where aftercare is provided to children. He worked in that program with children. And now he shows up at an undercover operation to have sex with a very young teenage girl. He thought he was going to meet this 15-year-old as a result of a bad stepmom operation. That's right. He was going to pay stepmom to have sex with a 15-year-old. I'd like to underscore that this program that
That doesn't make him technically a pedophile, but I would call it maybe a child molester. Or what would you call that? Like in terms of, what's the actual term? Because a pedophile is prepubescent children. So I guess you'd call it, what would you call it? I'm not even sure. But like child molestation, maybe, because it's still a child. It's not an adult, but it's not a, the technical. Yeah, maybe the hebephile. Maybe that was it.
he worked for is a contractor or a vendor.
I don't care
not
if he calls
school
them that or not. I'm just
employees,
letting you
but
know.
a contracted service to the Orange County school system. So he thought he was going to meet this 15-year-old little girl and have sex because the bad stepmom arranged it. He was going to pay for it.
There you go, child
He
predator.
said
That's
that-
right. That's right. That's the word.
I'm interested, but is she the only girl you have? Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? He wanted to know if this was the only girl that they had. And then our suspect, Douglas, asked the stepmom, are you her pimp? The child's 15 years of age. He traveled to this location. He was also charged with human trafficking as well. Oh, he was wearing a DARE
I know. What about the
t-shirt.
mom?
For
Jesus.
those of you who are not familiar, DARE is a program that's taught to teach children how to be safe and to resist
Oh, is that what
drugs.
that is? I didn't know that.
He was wearing that t-shirt. He's currently in our jail. He said, my life's over. Kinda. We plan to send you to prison for a very, very long time. What you did was a serious felony, but because of the work of our detectives, and I brag on them because they're simply the very best, that night it wasn't a real child that he was able to groom and convince that it's all right to come over, or it wasn't a real stepmom that was offering up her stepdaughter for sex. He didn't know that, but he does now. And then there's Euro
Yeah, nobody said that
Nunez.
they didn't, Cindy. I don't
He's
know where
from
you came up with
Kissimmee.
that.
He's 40.
You're assuming people
He
didn't know
was
that
a
they did
laborer for Brand Safeway Scaffolding. They fired him. They were not amused. He's married. That's right. He thought he
Did
was
you hear
meeting
what
a
I said?
13-year-old child, a little girl for
Where is that one?
sex.
Did you hear what I
He
said?
said he wanted to teach her how to have sex, but he used much more graphic terms than that. Now, if I told you that, you just bleep it out and
Come
wouldn't
on, man.
tell
What's wrong with
everyone. Some of y'all may even cover up some of these faces. You know, shame on you if you do. But
Who?
when asked,
Did anybody say
well,
that?
what would you do if a man was wanting to do this to your daughters? And we asked that question because we discovered during the interview with him he had 4 daughters between 9 and 16 years of age. What would you do if a grown man, 40 years of age, have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains?
I think that fits that guy's face.
Wanted to come have sex with your daughters like you wanted to have sex with this 13-year-old. He said, well, if they tried this with my daughters, he said, I would hang them. Well, that's against law. We can't do that. But we can prosecute you and send you to prison for a very long time. But while he would take the ultimate violent act against someone wanting to hurt his daughters, he was doing the same thing to someone else's daughter. By the way, his daughters are being screened as well. He's posted bond, and I find it interesting that he's posted bond. He's out. He's out until court day. But he traveled, and he's also charged with attempted lewd battery. Now, I want to take this a step further. Keep in mind what he said he would do if they did it to his daughters. So while he is grooming what he thinks is a 13-year-old, he sends photos of his little man. Did you hear that? He's a little man. And his little man didn't have any clothes on. It was nasty. It was a nasty little man. But yet, it's okay for him to do that to somebody else's child. Once again, he's locked up. He confessed. He's lost his job, and we intend to do our best to send him to prison. And then there's Trevor Walker. He is a maintenance guy, maintenance tech at a Publix warehouse over in Orange County, Orlando area. He wanted to have unprotected sex for 3 hours with a 15-year-old girl. He went for this bad stepmom deal. He was going to pay her $400.
So isn't this just crazy when you think about it? Like, you know, Abby and Libby, and that's how I think about it. This stuff now, it's like there's these people out there that are part of. You know, I mean, is there a network of people that set these people up with who to call, and you know, it's just crazy. You know, and now we know that there's these Dropbox accounts where all these people are on there doing things. Really weird, you know.
Stepmom, so he could have sex. Now, our undercovers talked to this guy for 3 days before he showed up. And you might ask why. Some have to build their nerve up. Most enjoy the pursuit and the grooming as much as they do the sexual encounter. That's what we find a lot with pedophiles.
Keegan Kline.
It's the pursuit of their quest as much as it is the sex. He even went so far as to say, well, what would it cost me if I spent all night with a 15-year-old girl? All right, here's his moment to not travel. Okay, he's already in trouble for what he said on the computer, but here's his moment. He said, now listen, I don't want to get caught up in any of this Grady Judd sting business. And I don't want to see Chris Hansen.
Well, you didn't see
You
Chris
got to
Hansen.
see both?
Ah,
The Grady Judd sting and Chris Hansen was there.
was he really?
So he's not only on local television, he's going to be on a program about how he's a pedophile.
Is Hansen back at it again? That's hilarious.
And he's dangerous. And
That's
after we
funny.
caught him, and he figured out it was a Grady Judd sting, and Chris Hansen was there to talk to him,
Yeah, me too, Cindy.
he said, well, I made the decision to come here. I'm just stupid. What do you think? Stupid is being nice. You're an absolute moron.
Doesn't he sound like me? I mean, come on, you guys. That's
He also
hilarious.
added that he wanted to have rough sex with his 15-year-old child.
Oh, man.
He's in jail. There are no 15-year-old children in jail.
That's not nice.
This
He
is
called him
just
a moron.
Nasty, dangerous person. That's right. Then there's Douglas De Silva of Windermere. Newsflash, I know it's hard for you to believe, but he's illegal from Brazil. He's an Uber driver, and he also cleans houses. I didn't think you could be an Uber driver if you were illegal. You can't take an Uber directly from Brazil here, so they had to hire him after he got here. He's married. He traveled to have sex with what he thought was a 15-year-old female, and he was going to pay $220 for that experience. Once again, he talked to the stepmom. He wanted to have different kinds of sex. Now, we can't go into the details for obvious reasons, but he said, hey, I'll up it from $220, stepmom, to $250, an extra $30 if I can have unprotected sex with this 15-year-old child. He's also charged with human trafficking. He confessed. He's been here 4 years, and he's waiting on his green card. Well, just thinking out loud, I believe even this administration won't give you your green card since you're now
Yeah, you get that? Even this administration. Come on, you guys.
on a federal ICE hold.
He knows the
But
truth, too.
we'll have to wait and see. He's in jail. We want him to go to prison. And then last but not least, we have two more actually, but I'll tell you about our veteran. He's an Army veteran. He's currently a student. He was a mechanic in the Army, and he's got his VA benefits, and he was learning to be a Harley-Davidson motorcycle mechanic. You know, it's been my experience that Harley riders are real men. They're not pedophiles. They're not sex predators. And they don't want anybody that's a pedophile or a sex predator working on their Harley. But he wanted to have sex
Why
with a
not, Tyler?
14-year-old.
We should.
Old. And he made the statement. Okay, are you ready for this? He made the statement. I don't know who made him a great historian. If this were 200 years ago, our age difference wouldn't make any difference at all. Well, it's 200 years later, and it makes a lot of difference to us. He confessed. He's currently in jail.
Who cares, Tyler? Jesus.
But here's the thing.
He should say what he's just said. It's absolutely true. See, people need to say what's true and not worry about the consequences like Tyler wants everybody to be kumbaya. Hey, here, hold on, Tyler. Hold on a second. Let me help you out. Hold on a second. Hey, Allah, yeah. Combat terrorism with Hey, Allah, hey, Allah. Yeah.
That amazed me. He just moved to Davenport from Kentucky. I got to welcome him to Polk County when we arrested him. And on the way, while he was traveling to have sex with a child, He called his 5-year-old girl and his 6-year-old boy up in Kentucky to wish them good night. So he's wishing them good night while he's on his way to have sex with a child. Look, folks, these folks all have a hitch in their giddy up. They're not good people.
I think that might be a new one. Hold on. I think I gotta record it. Hold on. So I don't have to look for it again. Where's my audio? That one was awesome. Oh man. Where the hell is it? Shit. Hold on. God. Darn it. That's not over here. I don't see it. Looking for my... Oh, there it is. Audacity. There you go. Just want to record that really quick. Hold on.
Good night while he's on his way to have sex with a child. Look, folks, these folks all have a hitch in their giddy up. They're not good people. Now here's our last one. Ferris.
Here, let me see where about this. Look, folks, and then let me get rid of some of that. And this one.
Look, folks, these folks all have a hitch in their giddy up.
How about just at these folks?
These folks all have a hitch in their giddy up.
I don't know. We'll have to decide.
Cleese. He's married. He has adult children. He's an Uber driver. He's on public assistance. And he wanted to have sex with a 14-year-old female. Now, he said...
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't like the show that Chris Hansen's on, you know? I think it's sort of... I mean, it's kind of educational, but there's something about it that just doesn't... I don't know. Something I don't like about it, you know? I also don't really like the show that... you know, well, I support what they're doing, but there's something a little off about it. I don't know what it is. Huh? I'm not sure what you're pointing at. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know it does. There's some weirdness to it, though. I mean, why not just do it to catch him? And why does it need to be, I guess, why does it need to be a show, you know? Like, wouldn't you just want to do it with police and just arrest these people and get them off the air? That's the part that's a little weird to me, is the show element of it.
He told us he was on public assistance. That's how we know.
Hey, Chevron girl.
So did you take some of that government money that we all paid taxes with to have sex with a female, put gas in the car? Or was that extra money? He's Syrian born, he's naturalized, and he is legally in this country. And at the end of the day, he made this prolific statement: trust is like a glass. Once broken, it will never be the same again. What's that about? Well, he can trust us that he's locked up in jail and we won't break his glass, because he can trust that we're always going to arrest when he does something like this. Now, he has a $26,000 bond, but he's out. So if he didn't use the public assistance money that he said he got that night to get there to have sex with a child, did he use some of that public assistance money to bond out of jail? We don't know. But I find it interesting. He needs to be on public assistance, but he has money to bond out of jail for being a child predator. We will continue these operations. We're going to protect the children, not only of Polk County, of Florida, but around the country and around the world from these kind of deviant actors. That night, they would have all attacked children had it not been an undercover operation, and it had been a real child that they managed to groom online. Are there any questions?
You know what's interesting is that a lot of these people probably, you know, they're out there and they're meeting somebody. That means they've met people on other occasions and it worked. Like, you're not actually catching them on the one time that they did it, right? They probably had done it multiple times and were successful, and this is the one where they got caught on. And that's the scary part.
I just have a question about the human trafficking charges that half of them are facing.
Yes.
What did they do that led to the human trafficking charge?
The ones that didn't get a human trafficking charge talked directly to the child, groomed the child. The others offered to pay the state.
Nah, I think people that do crime shows should get ad revenue, and it's just their shows, and they're putting out a story. Here's what I don't like, though: when there's a news outlet out there that has a missing person story and it's under a paywall. That to me is disgusting. I mean, what are you doing? You have a missing person case, you want to get it out there, and you have a paywall where the wording's all hidden until somebody gives you, and that's crazy, right? Don't you think? I don't mind people, you know, like as long as people are doing responsible stuff, the way they're reporting on and telling stories, I don't have any problem with people making an income in the true crime world. It just is what it is, you know. It's the same as anything else. I mean, there's other topics out. So what topics are okay? Just discussing Bambi and nature? You know, it's wild. I think it's weird to have a paywall for missing person, though.
Stepmom to have sex. So that way they were engaged in the human trafficking aspect. Okay. Anything else?
I have a question, Sheriff, just about the apps and the.
But I think Cheryl Jones is actually like a troll that showed up in here just
popular,
to see what my response would be.
Certainly, we don't tell what sites we go on.
At least that's what your question sounds like. Just think about it like this: if you're out there and you're putting in the work and you're doing something that people want to watch, there's no problem with income on there, or people wanting to support your channel with, you know, watching it, or ad revenue, or super chats, whatever, right? There's no problem with that. But if you're doing sensationalism for the sake of getting a bunch of viewers, then there's something wrong with that, right? I think everybody would agree with that. There's a certain point where it's really, I don't know. It's hard to really say.
Unlike child pornography, where people can go to the dark web and make it really difficult for us to figure out who the child pornographers are, to get to children, you've got to surface into gaming apps, social media apps, and that's where we find them. Sometimes it's gaming apps. So you've got to be careful, even if you're letting your child on a gaming app online, that they're not being groomed. And if someone that you're playing or the child's playing a game with online wants to all of a sudden talk to them offline from the game, that's a clue. And anytime parents allow children to use social media at all, they've got to monitor it nonstop.
Well, they might have got away with it themselves
out here
multiple times.
Lurking around on these social media apps of different kinds to find your child, to groom your child, to have sex with your child.
Yeah, I don't think so. Delphi has a factual bits of information, and so everyone knows what sensationalism is. It's exactly what the defense team is putting out there. Absolute garbage. Coming up with all kinds of conspiracies of law enforcement and this and that. The actual story of the Delphi case isn't sensationalistic. You know, other than, okay, these girls are there and there's a video, you know, but people create fake information to make something sensationalistic so that people want to watch. Like Slow Joe, True Crime, whatever the hell her name is, and, you know, Decline. and all the other wackos out there that put out videos that are completely made up out of thin air with loose connections, tying it all together to create a wild conspiracy because they know that their idiot viewers like to watch that kind of stuff. And they believe it. That's worse.
The Chris Hansen production crew was embedded in this operation. And certainly we offer that opportunity for all of you. Many of you have done this in the past, and you're welcome at any of our operations.
Have you ever been involved with them before in the To Catch a Predator series?
No, not in the To Catch a Predator series. When they were doing the To Catch a Predator series, the processes and systems that they were using with other law enforcement agencies was not one that we would use in our operation. And the way it works with whether we embed you or Chris Hansen and his now To Catch a Predator series, whatever he calls it now, is that he has no interaction with the suspects until after the criminal investigation is complete and they're waiting on transport to the jail. Then we allow him to talk to them. And we'd allow you to do the same thing. Okay? Anything else? Y'all be safe. Take care. We'll see you next time.
There you go. There you go. Grady Judd. Grady Judd. All right, you guys. Well, that's going to do it. And I'll try to come back on a little bit later. Give it a shot. You know, maybe try for an hour or something. See if we can get anybody from Israel to call in. Give it try this in a little bit. So thank you to let's see, J. Sarah Books, Cindy J, Tamara, Scoutin' Dude. Everyone again put out positive vibes for Scoutin' Dude. Jillian's Book Chatter, Plato, Tamara, Noreen Gardner, Just Junie, Dina, Linda Howell, Kelly S, Annabella Roma, and Karen H with her show-stopping comment saying, "Stop insulting President Biden and you might do better." Well, it was after the insult of the worst president in the history of our country that I did better. So you got that one wrong. Then let's see, Tracy McCumber, Tamara, Nikki Zubs, Simply Me, Daphne, Kathy Friedmaker, Music Maker, Schroeder, Jiggy England, Caligal 3 with a cat eye, Caligal 3 again, thank you, Kami, Southern Mom, Karen Andrews, Paul Hallett with a cool comment about Israel, Regina George, Caligal 3 again, thank you, Tyler Ginzel, and Candace West. There you go. Oh yeah, he came up earlier. As I was saying, I think he's the absolute worst president that there's ever been. He's an embarrassment to the country, and I'm not talking about Trump, so don't come back, well, Trump was... Listen, Joe Biden is a terrible president, and I think everybody, even Democrats, realize that, but they have to like him because he's their guy. All right? But when you're sitting at home, I guarantee it, you look at it and go, man, he sucks. He sucks. All right? So, all right, you guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here. We'll try to come back on later and get a hold of maybe somebody from Israel will call in. All right? Thank you. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Just want to make sure if anybody's sent... Okay, good. All right, have a good one. Not really sure. All right. Where's the wrap? Right there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I mean
Cleaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Evil
Yeah,
can
so
never
just
be
get right
dead
back
enough.
to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later.
Evil can never be dead enough.
And some of you, you make shit up.
Come on, man. What's wrong with you? Did you hear what I said? You know, that's just one step above stupid.
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp. Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains? 5 brain cells, 4 aren't working.
Huh? It's a house!
Okay, bye! Bitch, please!
Dude! Oh my god, awkward!
Drama!
Don't ask dumbass questions.
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?